This segment is brought to you by Buick. Exceptional by design. All right, we continue to showcase bands that are achieving here in the area. And no different here. We have Megan LeBlanc, who is up here. She's with Houma Junior High School Symphonic Band. She's a director. She's been there for 1 year, but you spent a lot of time elsewhere, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then Evan Laprousse, South Terrebonne Symphonic Band Director. And of course, this is your first year also, right?
Correct. I spent 6 years at Houma Junior High and then made my way over to South Terrebonne this year.
All right, good. Now, we had 3 others on a previous show, and we were asking him, well, how can we help y'all? How can we help promote this? And he said, shrimp oil. So I know y'all have things during the year to raise money. And I want to tell all the bands out there, if you have things to promote, call us. I always tell people, we can't read minds. Call us and let us know, and we'll try to help you promote it. We'll buy some shrimp dinners to help the bands out. So we'll do that. All right. So let's talk about the symphonic band again. We asked Vaughn earlier, but in your opinion, what's the symphonic band? What's it all about?
So with some of the bigger programs, Houma Junior High and Terrebonne actually have quite a bit of students. We have about 150 students this year, and I know they have about kind of the same. So we split the students into different ensembles. At Terrebonne, they have 3. They have the symphonic, the concert, and the cadet. At Houma Junior High, we have symphonic and concert. And kind of what that means is the students are, obviously there are some that are on different skill levels. So we obviously want to put them in a place where they feel the most success. Depending, like I know you guys were talking about earlier, the classifications, we are required to play a certain grade level of music. In our case, the symphonic bands read a little bit harder music, and then the concert bands read a little bit easier music. But like I said, it wherever the kids are placed is where they're going to feel the most success and progress the most.
Mm-hmm. So they have to sort of acclimate themselves to where their skills are.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. And Evan, let me ask you, as far as practices and all that, what's a typical practice?
Long. So our typical practice is anywhere from 2 to 2.5 hours after school, after their normal, class time, which is about 50 minutes long, and then we spend an extra 2 to 2.5 hours, depending on what's needed for the next week or for the next performance. And we'll start every day with our warm-up, getting in tune, balancing, and going through things together as a group to get focused together, and then just working through the music, any trouble spots, running through it, and things like that.
Just to throw a little fun in this interview, when our cane breaker band is warming up and we have 9 all there, it's chaos to hear all these instruments going off, and sometimes you want to go, stop, especially if you're working the audio. You want to go, can we play one at a time so we can tune up? But how do you get everybody, that many people, tuned up and, accustomed to just sort of filtering things out? How does that work?
A little bit. So we are so blessed because there's so many resources out there, so many warm-ups designed for the beginner level, the middle school level, the high school level. And there are warm-ups that the entire bands do, that the students do individually, that gets them where they need to be. We have scales. I'm sure you know about those, especially on guitar. We do warm-ups every day with scales. We do a lot of long tones to develop the tone quality like they were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. And of course we use tuners when we need to, but we were lucky enough that our district had purchased harmonic directors. It's a kind of a fancy keyboard, and we use that a lot to play drones and have the kids listen and tune themselves. And there's so many things out there that we use to warm up and to get the kids ready for that.
You know what I've also learned in just talking with a lot of band directors, and Evan, I'll come to you with this, structure. Most band directors have to be very structured, or else it ain't gonna be good. And I noticed that in the personalities of most band directors is that it's sort of no nonsense. Am I right or wrong?
In front of the kids, no nonsense.
Yeah. You can have fun
Right.
outside of it, yeah.
No, it does come with a lot of planning and structure of how, like, just the method of going through each exercise is going to go. Lessons that I had to learn big time because teaching in the beginning, you learn no structure equals, like you said, chaos. And it just comes with coming through just, I guess, those trials and then seeing what the kids need and what they'll tell you what they need and what success, what brings them success.
Megan, just for the break, we got about a minute and then we'll come back with other questions. But who decides what they're going to play? Have they already been established at that point?
Not necessarily. That's a really important part of our job is to understand the students and to understand where and I keep saying success, but it's so important that those students feel success. And it's important that we choose music to go along with that. If we have a stronger woodwind section or a stronger brass section, we look through music. And I know for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but I know for me, choosing music for assessment is quite a few months long
So you may have
process.
somebody in the band that's very talented at 3 instruments, but they love to play the trumpet, but you may say, I really need you to play the trombone on it.
Yeah, and like I said, it's all where the kids are going to feel the most success, truly.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Very important. Promoting the bands here in the area. Don't go away. This segment was brought to you by Cypress Stop, home of the happy customer. All right, we're back. We're talking bands. I've always said we don't give the bands enough love. And I'm going to try to change that, especially at my place here, because they do a lot. They do so much work. They practice long hours. They do great things. And it goes back to the fact that y'all are directing now. And directing and playing in the band are two different things altogether. So, Megan, let me start off with you. When did you first become interested in music, and how has that morphed differently from the fact that you played in a band to now you're directing a band?
So it's actually kind of funny because I was never interested in being a band director growing up. Band was the only thing that I did in high school, and I went to Vanderbilt. I had Mr. Brad Adams, and he was, I had a few, but he was the one that was my band director my junior and senior year, and all of my band directors really, really made band something special for me in high school. And I left. I went to Nichols. I was set on being, I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to be in the medical field, and I wasn't in band the first semester that I was in college, and there was something that was missing. And I went back, I auditioned, I was in the wind ensemble at Nichols and made a pretty high chair too, my first round. And it's like, yep, this is what it was. And I had a couple of friends that actually convinced me to change my major, and it's been fun ever since.
Like Gloria Stefan said one time, the music is going to get you. It got you.
Always does.
All right. Evan, same question. How did you get interested in music?
I mean, I have my path is I went to South Terrebonne and graduated there, and just knowing that it was a special place for me, being in the band room all the time, and similar to Megan, I wasn't supposed to do music. I wasn't planning on doing that until my senior year. In fact, I always make fun of one of my teachers that I actually work with now for chemistry. We had a project, and we had to talk about a career, and I turned in that at that point I had decided to be a band director, and he looked at me, he said, "Are you serious?" And so it was just always a safe place and somewhere that I can be myself, and then just seeing, what music can do at times. And then, and I knew I wanted to go and teach. I worked with youth ministry and church retreats and wanting to help and do things like that. And then looking up to, my family is full of teachers. And so it's always just something that I, thought I needed to be doing.
And, you know, y'all were listening to the previous show we had where Mr. Von Luquette is 22 years, and you see that, and then Mr. Messina has 18, and then Dustin was well on his way, he's in his 8th year, and of course y'all are on your way. But when you look at some of those band directors that have been there for a long time, that's a long time to perfect your craft. And do y'all sort of look at each other sometimes and sort of try to steal a few ideas along the way on how to make things happen?
I wouldn't say steal, but it is so important to make friends and colleagues in that respect. And my students feed directly into Terrebonne, so we have a group chat going, and we'll text all the time. And I'd send them a picture of something. I'm like, hey, how would you describe this to the kids? And hey, can y'all come listen? We have rehearsal this afternoon, and give the feedback. And it's so important as an educator, and especially as a band director, to never stop learning. Always ask questions, go observe other band directors, find things that work, find things that don't work. But yeah, just never stop learning. Always be open. Always have an open mind.
So we could replace steal with maybe collaboration.
Absolutely.
Y'all collaborate together.
Absolutely.
It's a better word. Anyway. All right. So Evan, come to you.
I personally would say steal, because nothing I do is original. If someone else that is doing something and it works, why not try it? If I can relate to it, if my students can relate to it, because ultimately the students are the most important. And if, someone has something that works and it will work for my students, then I want to use it. I'm not worried about if taking credit for it or so if someone has something that works, why not use it? Yeah.
And Megan, I'm sure your history, you sort of used to excellence in band. I mean, you've had some good runs
Absolutely.
over there at Vanderbilt. So how much pressure was that on you as a director to keep something like that going?
Well, like I said earlier, band was the only thing that I did in high school, and I did everything possible that you could do in band. I was section leader, I was drum major, I did indoor percussion, I did winter guard, I did everything. And so it was so important for me when I became a band director to make sure that my students felt the same way that I did growing up. And, I guess pressure would be the right word, but like you said earlier, once you find your niche, once you find kind of what works and you get into your groove, it's really kind of fun.
It is.
It's
I mean,
just
music is fun, and it's people ask me all the time, how is it playing in a band in front of people? I said, don't get any better. When your music's in your soul and you're rolling, and I always say about pressure is the opportunity to do well. It's if you got pressure on you, that means you've been given a chance to perform in one level or another. So it's a good thing. Let's do this. We'll take a break. We'll come back with our final segment here. Promoting the bands. If you have a band out there and y'all receive some great award and you want to be in HTV, call us up. We'll get you on. We'll be right back. This segment was brought to you by Cardiovascular Institute of the South, providing our patients the highest quality cardiovascular care available. All right, we're back, continuing to showcase the bands. Megan LeBlanc, Houma Junior High School Symphonic Band Director, is here with Evan Laprousse, South Terrebonne Symphonic Band Director. And I remember we used to practice in Dr. Jerry Hadel's barn way back, a band called Bandit, just forming, playing band in front, all of them were playing. And I used to do early sound. And when I started playing football, Barry Fazio took over the sound. But some of the noises I heard coming out that barn in the first year were like, really? But then they got good. And they all started playing. Greg Graffinino on the drums, a down attorney. And I guess that sort of morphs into y'all because, man, if you give up on a student the first time you hear him play, you might be giving up on a gym because they might just explode onto the scene. And Megan, I'm sure you've seen a little bit of that.
So I've actually, in the 10 years that I've been teaching, I have taught every single grade level. I've taught elementary, I've taught junior high, and I've taught high school. And it's kind of the same everywhere, just like you said. sometimes kids need a little bit of extra loving, and especially at the junior high level when they come into 7th grade, we do have some that are still kind of learning and still in need of a little bit more attention. But there are so many kids that I've seen just in my first year back at Houma Junior High that if you give them just a little bit of extra attention and really show them that we're in it for you. We're not in it for us. We're in it for you. We want you to be successful. We want you to be happy. And as long as they know that you truly want what's best for them, they'll follow you. They'll do whatever you need for them to do. And it's so cool to see that too. Like when a student just really finds their place in the band room and feels like that's where they belong. You can just see them as happy as anything when they walk in the door.
And I think, Evan, what Megan's talking about too is confidence. When they get that confidence, you can see the spark.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Sometimes, they have to fake it till they make it, but a lot of times the confidence will come if they achieve just one small thing. And I think that's what makes it more worth it for me than anything, is even just on one day they can have one small win. And then after that one small win, they just want to keep going. And then they'll start putting a little bit more work, and they'll have another win, and they'll just start stacking them. Because like every kid will be able to win at something. No matter what it is from day one, they will be able to win. And
I was asking Megan before, Therese was at Houma Junior High. And of course, I know Therese because she spent some time here at HTV. It helps to have a principal too that's behind music and loves music too, huh?
I do have to say my entire admin team, Miss LeBlanc, Mr. Ward, who is the drummer at Terrebonne actually, and Miss Smith, they are super involved, and they're really really supportive of us. And we have so many people at the school board office as well that are always checking in and always making sure that we are we're finding success, we have what we need, and we have a lot of great support in our school system.
So when y'all were getting these honors, and Jay, we could put the graphic up again, when y'all were getting these honors, how does it make y'all feel as directors?
It makes me excited, mainly because the honor it's not my work, it's the kids' work. Knowing that they achieved what they were able to achieve, and seeing their success and seeing their reaction, and then realizing like that's what they did, is just worth it, more than anything.
Do you have to incentivize kids today? When we were playing, I never forget, my dad used to say, if you win the punt, pass, and kick, I'll get you an NFL football. We call it the Duke. I said, what? You give me a Duke if I win the punt, pass, and kick? Yeah. I would go out there and practice and do everything. Is it the same today? Do you throw them low incentives? What do kids want today?
There's definitely candy involved sometimes,
Candy and high fives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But truly, because when you receive sweepstakes, you get a trophy, and all the kids just watching their faces when I walked out the door, they all had their phones out and they were all videoing, and they all get to sign the bottom. I know Evan does that, and I know Vaughn and Dustin and Andy do that as well. They get to sign the trophy and just leave a bit of legacy at their school for when they move on.
But how do y'all support? Dustin hollered at me on the way out, shrimp boil. How do y'all pay for everything that y'all need? I know y'all get subsidized, but I know there's extra stuff y'all need. How can people help?
That's where our booster organizations come in, and our parents just do a phenomenal job of whatever we need. We set fundraisers, and they'll start selling whatever you want them to sell, popcorn, or whatever it may be. And just, you can find us on Facebook. Each of our bands have a Facebook page that they can find whatever our next fundraiser is going to be, whether it's a shrimp boil or just a calendar fundraiser or whatever it might be.
So if somebody puts y'all in their will for $1 million, y'all not gonna be, your feelings won't be hurt, right? Y'all can use the money and put it to good use, right?
Right.
Absolutely. There's always an instrument that needs to be repaired.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I want to thank y'all for coming on. Thank y'all for helping promote the bands. It means a lot to our area. Y'all keep up the great work, and hoping for some more superiors.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us
Thank
as well.
you. Anytime. All right, there you have it. If you, once again, have a band or an organization that you need a little support and you've done something good, give us a call at HTV and we'll make sure you get the recognition you deserve. We'll be back. This segment was brought to you by Buick, exceptional by design.